So let's get the important thing out of the way.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking, how many grandbabies you have, Lloyd?
I've got 4 grandkids. they range in age. I've got 2 that are 15.
Oh my
and
God!
2 that are 18. One's going to be 19 in March.
And I'm calling them grandbabies. That's,
Yeah, they used to think I'm cool. Now I'm not cool anymore. But
blew that deal.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well that's. I thought they were babies. That's how long it's been since I asked you about them.
Oh, they're
15 years.
Yeah. The bad thing is that now they have their own opinions. You know, they used to think I knew everything. Now they question me, and I just can't get used to that.
That's funny. That's funny. Now the next important thing is we'll get to him, but Teri Hendrix is probably the hardest working lady in show business.
No doubt about that.
Gotta be. It has to be ever since I met you back in the late 90s. You have to be the hardest working lady in show business and do a great job. And you got all these projects that we'll talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. Okay, well let's do it. Let's do a tune for everybody,
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen. This is Teri Hendrix and Lloyd Maines.
Okay. This is you've always been great to talk to because you look you right in the eye and you're sincere and you shake a hand and
Well,
you shake
thank
it
you.
like you mean it. And but I wrote this tune about when you just wish you could talk to a human and not, if you need to reach a human on the phone or if you're talking to somebody and you feel like they're more interested in their cell phone than
Yes,
you.
man, that's a perfect
Yeah.
example.
So
There's too many robot recordings out there.
Yeah.
It's just to
you
get
have to talk to.
get to talk to somebody and them listening to you
that's
is just
exactly right.
and that's
Yeah.
it's powerful.
So NASA sent had this mission to send this device called Messenger up to Mercury and collect data and then communicate it back to the Earth. And I thought it should have been the opposite way. I thought that we need that machine here on Earth to communicate with us and help us to improve our communication. So
And that machine could tell everybody out there, don't come here.
and so we work it out. We have to,
yeah.
Earth is full.
Yeah, we gotta know.
Talk to human, give a dog a bone, press 1, 2, 3, pound key at the tone, drive by satellite to get home, bring retrograde, sleep alone online, look up for some water or a sign of life. Let's start with 9 days old, to reach mankind, messenger Mercury, messenger Mercury. I want to talk to a human. Talk to you now.
Wow. Awesome. Ladies and
That's
gentlemen,
fun.
Lloyd Maines, Teri Hendrix. That's a good one.
Ah, thank you.
The Bottle Rockets just came out with kind of a techno song. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. But before we go any further, I want to thank you for something you guys did a few years ago. And this kind of goes back. Raising money for us is just a beating. And I talk about the spiritual law of prosperity. You got to give it before the universe gives it back. And Terri, you, through your projects, which we can get into here in a minute, you give more back than anyone I know. And Lloyd, both of you do. But you played at Chase's place a few years ago,
I love that.
which my
Yeah.
best friend Steve Folsman started that school 15 years ago.
Great school.
Oh yeah, we've been involved in it
He
ever
started
since. He did.
Wow.
And his son is Chase, and he couldn't find a school that did the job, and so he created anyway. You know what kind of shape those kids are in,
Oh, yeah.
and you guys went over there and played for those kids. And I don't know who set that up, but thank you. That was, I saw the video, they sent it around, and not many people would go and do that. So I just want to thank
Yeah,
you.
we're gonna try to do it again as soon as we can too. It's one of those things where Terri and I both agree, and we feel like we're doing something important by being there. But I tell you, when we left, it's like we felt such a fullness. I mean, just a satisfaction of having done that. I mean, they do as much for our soul as we do for them, I think.
Well, Lori Meyer's daughter is a student there, and she said, and I told her y'all were going to be here today, and she said that her daughter still wants to play the video of y'all over there singing. So how many years ago was that? 6 or 7 years ago?
So we've got to go back.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You give back. If folks go to Terri's webpage and see all these different projects and the people she is helping, from babies to grandparents.
I love it. It's called the OYOU, which is Own Your Own Universe, and Lloyd is helping with it as well. But I'm still planning on playing music, but my goal next year is to just kind of play the shows that are just to do less with more, if that makes sense. So to really focus even more on the OYOU, because I just, there's something about it that I have to do with my life or I'm not satisfied.
Well, you're doing a great job.
What I mean, like it really means a lot to me. For example, there's this kid that I got to get back in. He's not a kid; he's in his 20s, but he's severely autistic, and was responding to music. And so I got out my iPad with my GarageBand on it, and then got him to just, I pulled up a loop, created a loop, and he started to sing, and we made up a song based on a little cartoon he drew of a shark. And then it was, like it was basically using body movements, like a hand clap, something like a rhythmic. And then we ended up finishing the song, and he performed it at a talent show. And before, he was being nonverbal, and he gets up there in front of the entire audience and does the talent show, and the audience is singing along with him. And it was like, when I saw that video, I thought, I can either be setting up and tearing down and playing every festival in the country, or I can be the oak tree instead of the acorn, or
You bet.
instead of a tumbleweed rolling around all over the place. And there's something about that I just feel is my life's work, So I appreciate you bringing it up.
Well, you helped create a miracle. That kid still might not be talking if you wouldn't have done that.
I feel like I don't think it's about me. I think it's about a sense of purpose, and then like minds get together and create something that's bigger than yourself.
Well, that's awful humble of you to say, but it is about you, because you're creative and you are taking the time to pass that creativity on to these kids and whoever. So
Music's powerful.
You're very humble, but
it's powerful.
you need more pats on the back for what you've been doing.
If everyone had a guitar, there would be less arguing.
You're exactly right. Exactly. No more wars. Just get around, sit around the campfire and play. Jeez. Okay. Well, that's what are you going to do for us?
Okay, this is kind of a little bit of an avant-garde tune about just I want to see the Northern Lights, and I haven't yet, and I can't figure out why I haven't, but I'd like to. Let me make sure I'm in the right.
Well, they do have airplanes that
But
Go
I wanted
up
to get
there.
a 68 Shasta camper and then pull it, you know, and go on out there. I had this vision of me with my dogs and a goat and a donkey going out, you know. I don't know what part of that's not realistic, but I ended up not doing it, or haven't yet. So
Probably the donkey.
Tennessee flat top country dance, tango on the inside, limbs in suspense. No, no, no go. I'm in limbo. There's a visual for the audio. Do my own thing, let my heart sing. Got my chicken wings and see the golden eyes I got. Get a backbone, leave my comfort zone. Do it on my own and see the starlight. Cream in your coffee, caffeine in your veins. Your heart goes boom, boom, spark it the same. Engines got distance, moving in a row. Shaking like a showgirl with steam to blow. I gotta do my own thing, let my heart sing. Got my chicken wings and see the golden lights I got. Get a backbone, leave my comfort zone. Do it on my own and see the shepherd does the sheep, the wolf lay in wait. The sheep and I just still around the keepers of my faith. But I'm wildcat killing, don't fence me in. I need land, lots of land, so I can ride the wind. Listen to the boxcars, talk about the planes. Got Wabash, cannonball running through my brain. So red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. I'm crazy for you and crazy to me. I gotta shake my soul to rock my bones. How the wolf on my own, how I try to do that. Send me for me, let's come on. Do my own thing, make my heart sing. Got my chicken wings and see the golden lights I got. Do my own thing, make my heart sing. Got my chicken wings. I gotta get a backbone, leave my comfort zone. Do it on my own and see the golden lights.
Hey, sweet. It's a great tune. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Teri Hendrix and Lloyd Maines, and we're going to do 4 short messages, and then we're going to be right back, so hang on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with you. This is Mark Muddy behind the mic. Now, I'm just lucky today. I got Texas royalty in the studio with me, Miss Teri Hendrix and Lloyd Maines. So, Terry, I want to ask you a couple questions, and then we'll come back to your 5.1, 5.2, 3, 4, 5.5 projects. Because those are different than your Own Your Own Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we'll get back. I wanted to ask you what it was like when you guys did the Guy Clark tribute and you did the Dark. I mean, why did they ask you to do that, and how'd that come about, and is there a story behind that?
Yeah, there is. I was working. I became friends with Tamara,
Yeah.
and
She wrote the book,
yeah,
his autobiography.
Yeah, Tamara Soriano, and she wrote the book. And then we've been doing some different things together with an album that I had out at the time. And then I had bought The Dark, and I love that song. And but I didn't know if I could do it or not. I didn't know how it would go. And the more I listened to it, the more I can't explain it. It's profound. It's a profound song to me. And so then we recorded it, and so that's part one. But when we recorded it, I never quite felt like I was settled in the way I wanted it to be, because it was like a one take. You couldn't. It was a bunch of us in a room at the same time, And I just wanted to live with it a little more, and it always bugged me. It would bug me. So talked with Lloyd when we were doing this record, and we thought, well, we're gonna put it on there and do it the way you wanted it to be. So then we recut it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why it's on my new project.
I got you.
And we changed the key, and then.
Well, it was good the first time too. It just wasn't the way you wanted it, but it was still good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just I've been working with Lloyd. I started working with him in '97, and working with someone that's as good as you, Lloyd, it makes you a little bit more, your ears get better with what you hear, with what, with your concept of the way something could be, and I admire his work so much that I wanted it to be.
Well, I thought you did a great job.
Well, thank you.
And I just got through reading the book, and how that all came about is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, the way the guy Clark, and now that he's gone, I'm a big music fan. Now that he's gone, the thing that I really hope happens. I hope that the record label that he's been on preserves his music and gets it in every format possible to preserve it, that to keep the integrity of it, the sound levels up. And then I also hope that people remember him.
Yeah, but they will.
And I'm sad that there won't be any more music out of him. That's the thing that gets me is that his music will live on, but I'm wondering if he's still writing somewhere.
Yeah, well, they might get it out. The record company might get it out, but he would never.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't even take his records to the gigs.
Yeah.
That was selling out.
Yeah.
Anyway, my other question is Jim Thorpe. That's like one of my.
Yeah.
You probably don't even remember the words of Jim Thorpe.
I do.
You wrote that? Did you write that?
Yeah, I did.
What, were you reading a Jim Thorpe book, or
No.
trying to set a record, or what?
We were on the road, and I couldn't sleep, and I turned on the TV, and there was a whole story on Jim Thorpe on the History Channel, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy got. It's not fair, that's simply not fair what happened to him. And then I started to read about it, and then I got mad about it, and then I started to write about how this guy that there was no steroids back, he was a pure
athlete,
great athlete. They call him the greatest athlete of the century for a reason. Running faster than anybody, was stronger than anyone, and because he was Native American, he just wasn't given his due. They did everything they possibly could to discredit him. Other people were, they took his medals away for something that he did that everybody else was doing at the time, and he didn't even know that it was a consequence, because he had done something outside of the Olympics.
He played a charity baseball game to raise money for kids in whatever town it was. Yeah, and he got busted for it.
Probably got a couple bucks for it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So and I wrote that, and then Lloyd, I with the music. Then I took it to Lloyd, and then he did the music part of it.
Well, it's a great song.
Thank
Yeah,
you. We need to work that one back up.
It's a great song. I love it.
Yeah.
And you're right. He deserves it. I mean,
yeah.
He was something else. Okay, so what are we going to do here?
Oh, this is Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee. There's this tune I always liked of theirs. I like the harp part on it, but it was just a chorus, and so I wrote lyrics I wrote the verses, and then I took their chorus. So
okay.
So here it is.
And Terri said that she was writing these verses and aiming these verses at every boyfriend she's ever had. so it's some pretty ugly verses.
A lot of material there.
Come on, let me be.
Man, you got to be in shape to do that one, Terry. Ladies.
And I also want to tell you, Mark, I was thinking that I believe that you are the first radio show Lloyd and I ever did as a duo, and it would have been April 19...
Sweet.
Right? Was it April 1997 or 1990?
Yeah, 97.
Larry Joe Taylor's.
Awesome.
We were on our way to do Larry Joe Taylor's, and we did your show. You would have been the very first one we ever
Great.
did. And here you are still promoting independent music.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
And I want to tell anybody that's a songwriter or a practicing first-time songwriter, anyone that thinks they want to write, a great place is to go to Taos, New Mexico, and go see y'all at the Michael Hearn Barn Dance.
Oh, that's
when you
great.
guys do your songwriting workshop every Saturday of the Barn Dance, and because of you. Did you hear Tim Tandy's song about Billy Bonnie Hearn?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
That's
God.
a great song.
And he wrote that in y'all's
Yeah,
class.
he did. He did.
Yeah.
I tell you,
And then got up and performed it with Hearn up in front of everybody.
Tandy's a great writer, man.
I know.
Well, that song's great.
Yeah.
I know,
yeah.
it is great. And that movie, was that movie not... I cried from the moment that movie started.
Yeah, that's a pretty emotional movie.
About Bill Hearn. Amazing.
Yeah, it is. But that song that Tandy did was, and it was because of y'all's workshop on Saturday of the deal. And we want to tell Tandy to get well. He had a little health hiccup, so get well out there, Tandy. But man, what a great song! And thank y'all for help teaching him how to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all could take all the credit for Tandy writing that song.
Yeah, we'll see if we can
was
sneak our
under-
name on that copyright.
Yeah.
That's right. That's kind of like the Screen Door that Joe Pat, Larry Joe, and Guy Clark and all those guys wrote, and Joe Pat said try to forget trying to figure out who to get credit on that one or something like that. Anyway, so real quick, we still have a little bit more time. Tell us about your 5.1 to 5.5 project.
Well, I consider it a culmination of recordings that Lloyd and myself that we've done for all these years. You know, it started. Everything was thematically linked with different topics. Okay, so like for example, on the first one, which is Love You Strong, it talks about the Texas Star and about women in politics. And then on the second one that we did was the Slaughterhouse Sessions, and there's a song about women, like about Eve, Adam and Eve, and how Adam, I feel like, always got off for his bad deeds, and then Eve got all the blame when they were both together. And so that was and then the third one is Who Is Anne, and there's a song about Mother Teresa, Serena Williams with tennis, and about strength in women, and wondering just where they get their confidence from to take the stage like they do without, and they don't seem to have doubts or doubt their convictions. And then on number 4, there's the Women Air Force Service Pilots, which is a tribute to the women of World War II. So see, they're all thematically linked, even though the genres of music might be different. So it's just a project that just evolved, and I'm really glad it's coming to an end, because it was just really hard to make it all fit. And then Lloyd, his wonderful production, it's been such an honor working with him, and it's a while, it started in 2016, and here it is 2019, and in that time frame you got inducted into the Austin City Limits Hall of Fame, and then you're they put you in the Bob Bullock Museum and exhibit on you, and but basically every reward, I don't know, it's just been kind of neat.
Well,
so while I've been dilly-dallying, working, trying to get this thing finished, it's been...
I always hope that if I live long enough and play music long enough, I'd wind up in a museum. So there you go.
I don't know, it's just been an interesting...
I didn't know in what
few
form
years.
I'd wind up in a museum. But also, we have to say this. Terry and I were talking about this on the way from Austin. KNON, and especially your show here. I'm not that familiar with the other shows, but we listen to you anytime we're within your
that's
signal range.
Nice of you to say
and
that.
I tell you, you guys play music that nobody would ever hear had it not, if it weren't for y'all. And I mean, good stuff, good important songs that if it weren't for you would just get swept under the rug. And so it's important that you can bring this totally original Texas music to the forefront. And at least, even if it's just for one day, it means something.
Well, thank you for saying that.
And your enthusiasm means something. The fact that you still go hear music, and the fact that you can get blown away and then want to see somebody several times in a row because they they have something.
They got it.
Yeah.
Linda Gale Lewis. I mean, that was it. She had it. It's incredible. And she's 70-something years old, and I can't believe I'm just now hearing about it.
Well, I'm going to hear about it next time.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be looking that up before we even get out of the parking lot.
Anyway, thank you for saying that, Lloyd. That's awful nice of you.
Totally mean it,
and
yeah.
Terry, you're too humble. You do a lot for a lot of other people, and through music and yourself, but mainly through music, and that's a real gift that you're giving, and you should get more pats on the back for it because you do a lot of behind the scenes, under the radar stuff that. I mean, if somebody just go to your website and see all these projects and the faces and the smiles on these people's faces, it's
been really
it's magical. Yeah.
You have to promise me that you and your wife will come to Willery Farm and meet me and the donkey and the 3 goats. I call them Tres Diablos. And then I might have this calf. Who knows if that's going to end up being mine.
Well, Terry didn't think she was going to be able to come down here because the mama cow died, and she kind of inherited a baby cow and sent me a picture of her feeding this baby cow. And anyway, it's your next door neighbor, I guess, now.
Yeah.
So check Terry's stuff out on her web. It's too much to talk. We try to get it all in 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
I got the dark ready to go by Guy.
great.
So yeah.
Great.
So thank you again. It's
Thanks.
always great to see
Hey,
you.
thanks a lot.
Don't be strangers, and thank you so much.
KNON Radio.
There you just, that's awesome. I wonder how to get this thing on. Okay, let's try this.